Hey YouTube, Brian here. Last video we showed all of the 1-card combos that you can execute in Maliss post Alliance Insight, and while a lot of those combos looked super impressive, the vast majority of the time those will not be the combos that you should go for. For a majority of your games, you'll be going for one of the 2-card combos instead, as they are usually much more resilient to hand traps, and with an abundance of extender options in the deck, backup, Bystials, March Hare, and Underground, you are more likely to open the 2-card combos than you are to open the 1-card combos. So it is important that you understand how each extender changes your combo lines, and today we'll be going over the various 2-card combos available to the deck and how each is executed differently. We have a lot of combinations to go through, so let's get started. So since we already covered the Dormouse plus Backup Administer 2-card combo in the first look video, I'm going to skip that and go straight to our White Rabbit plus Backup Administer 2-card combo. As with all of our Backup Administer 2-card combos, you usually need an extra card in your hand to discard for the backup's effect. But in this case, we're going to lead with White Rabbit, and we're going to use White Rabbit effect to go ahead and set a trap on the deck. Now, most of you might think we're going to set TB11 or set the GWC06 here, but we're actually going to go for MTP07. And the reason why is because with the addition of March Hare to the deck, MTP07 becomes a very good insulator for the deck, because being able to search an extender in the form of March Hare makes your combo a lot more resilient to all the different types of hand traps that you might encounter in the new format. So here we're going to go ahead and link White Rabbit into Lingaribo, and then use the effect of our Backup Administer to add Wizard and ditch the random card from our hand. And something very notable about the White Rabbit combo is that it is very hard to make your Maliss Link 3 on your 5th summon, just because of the nature of White Rabbit being not able to generate a body by herself. And unlike Dormouse, which you can always get to a Maliss Link 3 on 5, very rarely will you ever be able to do that with White Rabbit unless you open a Bystial specifically. So since we opened her with Backup Administer, there's really no way to establish a Link 3 on Summon 5. And so instead of trying to do that, we're going to instead play into the Nibiru, and so that if our opponent Nibirus us, we can still recover by using our MTP07. So we're going to make Splash Mage here, and Splash Mage summon the White Rabbit. Even if your opponent has Impermanence for your Splash Mage, you should have Wizard Administer in your hand to summon your White Rabbit from grave and still go into Red Ransom from there. So this will be your 5th summon, which means if your opponent has Nibiru, they can choose to use the Nibiru here. But if they do, you're still perfectly fine because of the fact you set MTP07. So you can use MTP07, banish your White Rabbit, your opponent will tribute, and add a March Hare from your deck to your hand. Your opponent will tribute your board, give you a Nib token, but then on a new chain, your White Rabbit will trigger from the banish zone and special summon herself back. Then you can link your White Rabbit and your Nib token into a copy of IP Masquerena, and then use your Wizard Administer to target your White Rabbit in the graveyard to summon both, and then link your White Rabbit and your IP Masquerena into your Red Ransom as usual. And you still retain your March Hare in your hand in case your opponent has any further interruption. Even if your opponent has Impermanence plus Nibiru, let's say they Impermanence your Splash Mage, and then you use Wizard to summon a White Rabbit, and then they use their Nibiru there, well, you can still use MTP07 to banish your White Rabbit. They'll give you a Nibiru token, new chain, you'll summon your White Rabbit, and then you can link White Rabbit and your Nib token into Masquerena, and then your March Hare in hand can banish your White Rabbit from the graveyard to summon, and then you can link your March Hare and your IP Masquerena into a copy of Red Ransom. Red Ransom will then search you your Underground, Underground will banish your Dormouse, and you can just keep comboing from there. So as you can see, this setup is very powerful against Nib, even if we can't get to our Link 3 on our 5th summon. But let's say your opponent doesn't have Nib or decides to hold their Nib here. We go ahead and link into Red Ransom, and then use Red Ransom to search for Underground. Then we use Underground to banish Mirror, and then Mirror to banish White Rabbit in order to add March Hare. So we've reached the same point as with the Dormouse combo, where no matter where our opponent nibs us, March Hare and Wizard Administer will make sure that we are able to continue comboing no matter what. So we use White Rabbit effect to summon herself, and then here we're going to use our Wizard effect to go ahead and summon himself and backup, just so we can link straight into our White Binder. Even if our opponent Nibirus us here, you can chain MTP07, banish Red Ransom for cost, and then search a copy of either March Hare to use on your opponent's turn, or if you want to hedge against something like Dominus Impulse on your Red Ransom, you can search for a copy of Dormouse instead. That way, even if your Red Ransom gets impulsed, you can use March Hare to banish your Dormouse from the hand, summon your March Hare, Dormouse will summon herself from the banish, then Dormouse effect can banish Chessie Cat from the banish pile, and you would still end on more than enough bodies to go into White Binder set GWC, so on and so forth. So you can see that this setup is already like super resilient against almost any form of a hand trap your opponent could have. And we're going to link into Binder here, banish Red Ransom. Red Ransom will banish Dormouse. And before we use Dormouse effect, we're going to use our White Binder to go ahead and set GWC 06 just to get that on the board as soon as possible, because as you know, once we get GWC 06 and White Binder into rotation, that basically offers us guaranteed interruption and follow up on our opponent's turn. So here we're going to then use Dormouse to banish Chessie Cat, then use Chessie Cat effect to banish our March Hare, draw 2 cards. March Hare is going to add herself back to our hand, and we're going to link 3 into our Hearts of Cryptor. If your opponent has not Nibiru by this point, they have well and truly missed all chances of Nibiru having an impact on this board. We're going to link into Firewall Dragon. Then we're going to use March Hare to banish our White Binder from the graveyard just to get that 3rd draw. And then we can link all 3 into our Akko Talker Agnister. So, as I mentioned before, you can summon this Akko Talker in the middle monster zone or in the extra monster zone. Depends on how much flexibility you want with your White Binder, or whether you want more bounces with your Firewall. Okay, so next we're going to show the 2-card combo you can do by using Chessie Cat as well as backup Agnister. And most of this combo is going to be the same as the 2-card combo with White Rabbit, so I won't give the play-by-play for every single move, but unfortunately, if your starter in this kind of combo is Chessie Cat, she is the worst one because you cannot play around Nib. White Rabbit lets you set MTP of 7 to play around Nib, but Chessie Cat doesn't really do anything in that regard. And so if you start with this 2-card combo, you just gotta hope your opponent doesn't have Nibiru. And otherwise, it's going to do pretty much the same thing as the last combo and end on the same board. It's just instead of Dormouse banishing your Chessie Cat from the deck, you're going to be banishing your White Rabbit and then using White Rabbit basically later on the combo to end on the same thing. But I do want to take some time to talk about what kind of end board I'm going to be kind of making throughout all of these 2-card combos, because if you guys have seen the 1-card combo video, you'll know that there are a lot of different variations that you can go for in regards to the end board. So of course you have the decision of, do you want to put your Akko Talker in the middle monster zone or put it in the extra monster zone. That's one thing you always have a choice over. In terms of like the different lines that you have, there was the kind of balls to the walls combo Heat Soul line, where you go into Heat Soul, you go to pretty low life total, but you get to drop 2 additional cards. And there's the more lower to the ground line, where you don't even go into Wicked and you just end on Cryptor, GWC, and Pass, just like in past formats. The board that I'm going to go for throughout all of these 2-card combos is going to be this setup specifically, because I think this setup is like kind of like a happy medium between those two. It's not super balls to the wall, it doesn't pay you down to a super low life total where like you can kind of get like OTK'd out of nowhere, but it also isn't like kind of playing super low to the ground where you don't like make super good effective use of like kind of the ceiling of the deck that we now have. And this is kind of like something that like is a compromise between the two, since it gives you a little bit of everything, and it's like the most balanced and most well-rounded. And it's probably going to be the board that I will actually be making most of the time when the new cards from Alliance Insight actually come out. Okay, so next we have the 2-card combo using Underground as the starter and then Backup Agnister as the extender. So thankfully for this combo, it is nib safe because Underground is somewhat like starting with Dormouse. We just don't get to use Dormouse's, we just have to use Dormouse's banished effect early. And here we are able to make our Maliss Link 3 on Summon 5 with the Backup Agnister, so that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to link into Red Ransom, and since we already started with Underground, we're going to search for Maliss in the Mirror instead. Now I'm going to be showing you guys 2 different variants you can go with this combo. One variant is you can use Maliss in the Mirror as part of your combo in order to end on the same board that we ended on last time. But another variant is if you want to keep Maliss in the Mirror in your hand to use as a piece of interruption, you can make some slight adjustments to your board in order to do that. So we're going to use our wizard here, and then we're going to link into Splash Mage. So here, even if your opponent tries to Nibiru you, you can chain MTP07, banish your Dormouse to add March Hare to your hand, and then March Hare can banish your Red Ransom from the graveyard, and the Red Ransom can banish your Chessy Cat from the deck, and so you can still combo from there. So we can go Splash Mage to summon, link into our White Binder to banish Ransom, Ransom to summon and banish Chessy Cat, and then here we're going to use our White Binder to go ahead and set GWC06 before linking into our Firewall Dragon. Now we're going to use our Chessy to banish our Malice in the Mirror, so that Malice in the Mirror can banish our White Binder and add a copy of March Hare to our hand. We're going to draw a third card with White Binder, and then we're going to link summon into Cryptor, and then use Firewall's effect to summon March Hare from our hand. Here we're going to flip our MTP07, banishing our Cryptor to add another copy of March Hare, and then using our Cryptor effect to summon her from the banished. We're going to use our March Hare effect here to banish our MTP07, and we're going to use our Cryptor effect to actually recycle our MTP07 this turn, and we'll just banish our Underground since it's not too relevant to the end board. And in this way, since we recycle the MTP07, next turn when we summon our White Binder, we can banish our White Rabbit to set the MTP from deck again, so that we can use it as a piece of interruption as well. So effectively, this ends on the same board as the previous two combos, except your MTP07 is in the deck instead of on your field. Okay, so if you want to retain your Malice in the Mirror as an interruption on your opponent's turn, you just have to sequence your combo a little bit differently. And most of the start of this combo will look the same, but towards the end, you have a few choices that will kind of determine like what end board that you're going to end on, because you're not going to end on the exact same board as if you used the mirror as part of your combo. You will have to give up some parts of your end board in order to be able to keep it in your hand. So here we're going to use Binder to set GWC06, and then unlike last time where we held the MTP07 towards the end, we're going to just go ahead and use the MTP07, banish our White Binder to add the March Hare, so that we can go ahead and draw with our Chessy. Since we don't plan on banishing Malice in the Mirror in this combo with Chessy, we're just going to banish the March Hare, and then draw 2, add our March Hare back to our hand. And then here we're going to link for the Firewall Dragon, and then use our March Hare to again banish the MTP07, link 3 into Cryptor, and then use Cryptor to shuffle the MTP07 back so that on our opponent's turn, we can set it again. So here you can see that we didn't end on the Akko Talker, but we did keep the Malice in the Mirror in our hand, which could be beneficial if you're in a matchup that would really like to have a impermanent style effect. There are a few ways you can like kind of change up this end board as well. Like if you don't want to go for Cryptor, you could have linked 3 for Akko Talker instead, and then use Akko Talker to summon White Binder and Red Ransom to the 2 zones next to Firewall Dragon, and then that would give your Firewall Dragon 3 bounces. Obviously, then you don't have Cryptor in rotation, and then you also wouldn't be able to shuffle back your MTP07, meaning you wouldn't get MTP07 access during your opponent's turn. So it's kind of like a give and take. Like, do you want the Omni Negate, or do you want the Cryptor plus the MTP07? And that's kind of a decision that you'll have to make for yourself, but just showing all the different possibilities that you can have if you do decide to retain the Malice in the Mirror in your hand. Alright, so now that we've gone through the 2-card combos involving Backup Administer as your extender, let's talk about the 2-card combos that involve Bystials. So your 2-card combos with Bystials, unfortunately, are generally weaker ever since the Link Decoder ban. You can still get to where you need to be, but usually it's not full combo. You have to give up something one way or another. And with the Dormouse Bystial combo, a lot of it might be pretty familiar to you, since we do a lot of it before the new cards as well. So we use Dormouse to banish White Rabbit, and then White Rabbit to set the MTP, linking into the Lingering Belt, and of course we're going to use our Bystial here to make our Malice Link 3 on Summon 5 to play around Nib, and then use our Red Ransom to search for our Field Spell. Field Spell is going to banish Mirror, Mirror is going to banish Mouse, which will search Hare, and then we summon Mouse. And then here we will link into Splash Mage. Splash Mage, go ahead and summon back Mouse to link into the White Binder. Even if your opponent nibs on, like, say, the Splash Mage, you still have the March Hare in your hand to banish your Red Ransom, so you're still completely fine from nib. Here we're going to use Red Ransom to go ahead and banish Chessy Cat. Chessy Cat will banish Hare after we set with our White Binder, and then we're going to add Hare back to our hand before making our Cyber's Wicked here. So we're going to go ahead and summon March Hare to Wicked Zone by banishing White Binder, and then in the new chain, we're going to chain block our White Binder so that White Binder cannot be ashed by doing White Binder Chainlink 1 and Cyber's Wicked Chainlink 2. Wicked is going to search us our backup Adagnister, and White Binder is going to draw us our third card, and then we're going to link into Firewall. We're going to summon backup Adagnister to add Wizard to our hand to discard one of the cards we drew, and then link into Cryptor, then use Wizard to summon any name, and then summon Echo Talker and summon Red Ransom to get to full combo. So you can see with Dormouse plus Bystial, we can still do full combo as Dormouse is the best starter, but with some of the other combos, unfortunately, we won't be able to get this far with them. The good news about a lot of the 2-card Bystial combos is that unlike backup Adagnister, you don't need an extra card to discard. So these are true 2-card combos that don't require anything more than the 2 cards that you see in your hand. But to combo with White Rabbit, we're going to first normal summon and set our MTP 07, then use our Bystial to banish White Rabbit and go ahead and make Ransom on 5. We're going to add Underground, and here instead of banishing the Mirror, which you've probably gotten pretty used to seeing, we do have to get into our other names. So we're going to banish the Dormouse instead of banishing the Mirror, then use Dormouse to banish Chessy, and then use Chessy to summon Chessy, and then we're going to link into Splash Mage to summon Dormouse, and link into White Binder to banish our Red Ransom, and then Red Ransom to banish a copy of March Hare. March Hare will add ourselves to our hand, and we're going to set GWC with our White Binder. And here, you can choose to use the Chessy effect to draw by banishing your March Hare, but then we wouldn't be able to add March Hare back to our hand. And so I think that, like, if you have any other Maliss cards that you can use for Chessy's effect, go ahead and feel free to banish the draw. But if March Hare is the only name in your hand, I would hold it in your hand just to play around more hand trap, just in case your opponent has some kind of interruption. So unfortunately in this combo we won't be able to draw with the Chessy, but that's what we give up by having the Bystial combos be a bit weaker. So we link 2 into the Wicked here, and then we're going to do the same thing as last time. We're going to chain block our White Binder by summoning to the Wicked Zone. Then White Binder will draw us 1 card, and then we make the Firewall Dragon. We can summon our backup Adagnister, discarding the 1 card that we drew off Binder. Link into our Cryptor, and then use Wizard to go ahead and summon so that we can make Echo Talker and summon Red Ransom to his zone. And we end on the same board, we just don't have as many draws in our hand. So that's the downside of the Rabbit plus Bystial combo, even though the board itself is the same. Alright, so with Chessy Cat plus Bystial, unfortunately, once again, Chessy is probably the worst variant in all of the 2-card combos, just because there's not really a way to play around the Nibiru here, even though we get to Ransom on 5. Because we weren't able to get a trap to set, this would be a pretty good place for our opponent's Nibiru. But yeah, in this combo you can't play around it, unfortunately, so we're just gonna have to keep on pushing forward. We're gonna summon White Rabbit to set the MTP, we're gonna make our Splash Mage, go ahead and make our White Binder, banish our Red Ransom will banish our Hare, and add the Hare to our hand. Then we're going to use White Binder to set and make our Wicked, and then chain block our White Binder again. Unfortunately, this is another one of the combos where you won't be able to get your 2 draws off of Chessy Cat, just because we had to use Chessy at the beginning of the combo. So we go for the backup here, we search for Wizard, discard the card we drew, go into a Cryptor, and then again we use Wizard, summon 2, make our Echo Talker, and Echo Talker will summon Red Ransom. So again, the board is the same, we don't have the draws, but the Chessy combo compared to the Rabbit Bystial combo unfortunately does not play around Nib, so that is something to keep in mind. Alright, so what about Underground Bystial? Well, thankfully, Underground Bystial does play around Nibiru, since we do get access to Dormouse right away. Dormouse can banish our White Rabbit, and then we can go ahead and, in this combo, however, we do need to set TB11 in order to get the full board, so we can't get away with setting either GWC or MTP at the start here. We're going to link off into Lingaribo, and then summon our Bystial, go into our Red Ransom, And again, like, you can modify this combo to keep Mirror in your hand if you want to. But in this combo, we're going to be using Mirror as part of the combo itself. We're going to TB11, banish our Red Ransom to summon Chessie Cat, and then Red Ransom is going to banish March Hare to add it to our hand. We're then going to link 2 for Splash Mage, use Splash Mage to summon Chessie, link 4 White Binder to banish the Chessie, since we haven't used Chessie effect yet, and then Chessie will summon herself back. White Binder is going to go ahead and set GWC 06 before we normal summon the March Hare, since we haven't normal summoned yet, and link into our Cyber's Wicked here. Chessie Cat is now going to banish Mirror from our hand after we get our White Binder engraved, draw 2 so that the Mirror can banish White Binder to search for another copy of March Hare, since we haven't used March Hare's in-hand effect yet. We can summon White Binder from the banish to draw another card. Now we can use Wicked's effect to go ahead and search for backup, then we can link for the Firewall, use backup's effect to search for a wizard, discard a random card, and use wizard effect to summon any name, link into our Cryptor, and then use Firewall to summon our March Hare from hand, and link into the Akko Talker that way. So we kind of end on full combo here. We still have the GWC, and since we didn't go through MTP07, you can still set it off of White Rabbit when you banish it using White Binder on your opponent's turn. So yeah, you can still get to this point even with Underground plus Bystial, but you do need to set your TB11 first for this combo in particular. Alright, so the last Bystial 2-card combo we're showing here is actually going to be with the backup Ad Ignister. But whereas usually she is the extender in our combos, in this 2-card combo she is actually going to be the starter. And it works out quite well because we don't even need to have a third random card to discard for the backup Ad Ignister, since in this combo we're just going to be searching Dormouse and then discarding Dormouse from our hand. Our Bystial is going to banish our Dormouse, and our Dormouse is going to banish our White Rabbit, and then our White Rabbit is going to set GWC 06 from the deck. No reason to link into a link 1 or anything, so we're just going to link straight for Red Ransom on 5 to play around Nibiru, and then Red Ransom is going to search Underground. Underground here will banish Mirror to banish Dormouse, and even though we've already used Dormouse effect, it's still advantageous to go ahead and add the March Hare to our hand, just as further insulation against any hand traps our opponent might have. So we're going to go into Splash Mage summon back Rabbit, make Binder, Binder will banish the Red Ransom, Red Ransom will banish our Chessie Cat, and then Chessie Cat can go ahead and draw after we use our White Binder effect. And then we can add the March Hare back, make Firewall, and then use our March Hare to banish our White Binder to get a third draw, and then link into Cryptor here. So unfortunately, the backup plus Bystial combo doesn't go to full combo, but you can still end on a pretty respectable board. So basically, instead of Akko Talker being on board, you have your Cryptor on board instead, but you still have your Firewall bounces available. So on your opponent's turn, you can flip GWC to summon White Binder. White Binder can banish Red Ransom to summon to both of these Firewall zones, giving your Firewall two bounces. And you still have your MTP access as well, and you have drawn 3 cards. So all in all, even though it isn't full combo, it's still a pretty formidable board for 2 cards that were not Maliss cards to start. Okay, next let's go over some of the 2-card combos that use Underground as the extender along with a different starter in your hand. So Underground as the extender is a little bit awkward because it means that if you spend your Underground, you won't have access to it off of your Red Ransom. And another thing is, because you opened Underground, it means off of your Red Ransom, you would ideally want to search for your Maliss in the Mirror. But searching for your Maliss in the Mirror means that you can't banish it off Underground to use as part of your combo in order to search March Hare. So it is a little bit awkward, but we can still kind of make it work if we normal the Dormouse. And another line of thinking is, instead of like using Underground as like part of the combo, you can just go for the one card combo with Dormouse, and then this Underground will just be here like in case your opponent hand traps you. But if they don't hand trap you, you just do the Dormouse 1-card combo. And that's one way you can take it as well. In this combo I'm going to show, we're going to be trying to keep the Maliss in the Mirror in our hand instead of using it as part of the combo, since that's one of the advantages of opening Underground. So we're going to go for the Dormouse, going to the Splash Mage, going to the Red Ransom to search the Maliss in the Mirror. Now here we're not going to activate the Underground right away, since like I said, we don't have Maliss in the Mirror to banish, so we don't get as much value off of using our Underground, since we don't get to add a March Hare to our hand. So instead, we're going to flip our MTP07 to add the March Hare to our hand and then banish our Red Ransom, so that our Red Ransom can go ahead and banish Chessie Cat, and then Chessie Cat can go ahead and draw 2 by banishing the March Hare. The March Hare will then add herself back to our hand, and we can keep comboing by making the Cyberse Wicked here. And now is where we go ahead and fire off our Underground. Since we haven't used our Dormouse effect, we're going to go ahead and banish Dormouse, summon it to the Wicked Zone, use Wicked to banish any Cyberse, and add our backup Adagnister from our deck to our hand. Then we're going to link into White Binder, and then use White Binder effect to banish MTP07 so that we can recycle it with Cryptor this turn, and then set it again next turn, and then also use White Binder to set our GWC06. Here, we're going to use our backup Adagnister to go ahead and summon and search for a wizard. Then we're going to use wizard to summon just any name and then link straight into our Hearts of Cryptor. We're going to use March Hare to banish our White Binder so that we can get another draw. And then here we're just going to use Cryptor to, like I mentioned, recycle our MTP so that we can set it again next turn off of White Rabbit, and then link 3 into our Akko Talker Adagnister. Akko Talker is going to summon 2 to the zones he points to, and this would be the extent of the combo. So this is not the full combo that we've been doing over the course of this video. Obviously, we don't have Firewall on this board. Essentially, you've traded your Firewall bounce for a Malice in the Mirror in the hand, which in some matchups could be very beneficial. Just depends on what you want to do with your hand. But if you didn't mind using Malice in the Mirror as part of your combo, then you can just follow one of the earlier combos in order to end on Firewall, Akkode, and Cryptor Engrave instead. It's very easy to do that with this kind of setup. So next up we have the 2-card combo using White Rabbit as well as Underground as the extender. And it will look quite a bit different because we're going to normal summon Rabbit, set MTP, but then we're going to immediately flip the MTP to go ahead and add March Hare from our deck to our hand. After we summon White Rabbit, we're going to go ahead and play Underground to banish Dormouse, Dormouse to banish Chessie Cat, and then Chessie Cat to banish March Hare to draw 2. March Hare will add herself back to our hand, and we're going to go actually into the Wicked line over the Red Ransom line in this particular setup. And we're going to trigger our Wicked to go ahead and add backup Adagnister from our deck to our hand. We're then going to summon the backup, add the Wizard, and then use Wizard effect to summon back Dormouse. So this line isn't the best into something like Nibiru, but yeah, you just gotta put your opponent on having it. And then we link for the Red Ransom to search for the Mirror, and then link 2 into Splash Mage to summon back any name to link into our White Binder. White Binder will then banish our MTP as well as our Red Ransom. No reason to banish anything off of Ransom since we already used all our names. Then we can use White Binder to set GWC 06 before we link into Firewall, use March Hare to banish our White Binder in order to draw another card, and then we can link 3 into Cryptor. So here we're short 1 body to make the Akko Talker in order to get our full board, but we do still get to end on Cryptor plus Firewall, and of course we're going to use Cryptor effect to go ahead and recycle the MTP by banishing our field spell. That way we can set the MTP again on our opponent's turn. So next up we have the Cat plus Underground 2-card combo, and if you open with this kind of 2-card combo, I would honestly just go for the 1-card combo with Underground and then just reserve the Chessie Cat normal summon whenever you need it. So instead of just showing that combo again, I'm going to show kind of like an alternative combo you can do with this kind of setup by going into the Wicked and Backup Adagnister line early. So because of that, we do need an extra card to discard, but this is a line you can do if you want to go this route. So we start with Underground to banish Dormouse as well as White Rabbit, and then White Rabbit will set our MTP. And then here we're going to normal summon our Chessie and then link into Linkaribo right away in order to trigger the Wicked. Wicked will banish our Chessie to add backup from our deck to our hand, and then Chessie will special summon. Then we're going to link for Red Ransom to search for our Malice in the Mirror, and then link into Splash Mage to summon any name, and White Binder to banish our Red Ransom. Red Ransom is going to summon and banish March Hare, and then we're going to add March Hare from our banish to our hand. White Binder is going to set GWC 06, and then we're going to go ahead and use our backup Adagnister to search for Wizard Adagnister. Then we're going to link into our Firewall Dragon, then use our March Hare effect to banish our White Binder to summon and draw a card, link into our Cryptor, then use Wizard Adagnister to summon any name, and link into Akko Talker, and Akko Talker will summon the Red Ransom to his zone in order to end on our usual full board, except we also have Malice in the Mirror in our hand. So this combo is not nib safe, but it does end you on a pretty good end board. You don't get your Chessie draws, but you do end up keeping Maliss in the Mirror in your hand on top of all the regular stuff that you have for your full combo. So the last category of 2-card combos we're going to be going over today are combos with March Hare as the extender. So March Hare being the extender is honestly kind of awkward because yes, she is functionally equivalent to a Bystial, but when you use her as a Bystial, it means that you can't use her as an extender in later parts of your combo, which means some of your combos get weaker to hand traps and also can't extend as far. So there are kind of two approaches you can take when you open a Maliss name as well as a March Hare, which is you can either just try and do the 1-card combo with your Maliss starter and then use March Hare only if your opponent interacts with you in some way, like they use a hand trap on you, then you can use March Hare to continue extending. The other way is to actually integrate March Hare as a Bystial. And if you do that, your combos do get a little bit awkward, but you can still try and get where you want to go. So I'm not going to show the path where you just try and go for the 1-card combo and then save March Hare as an extender if your opponent interacts with you, since I already have a video on the 1-card combos. So here I'm just going to show what you can do if you do decide to use March Hare as a Bystial instead. So to start this combo, we're going to normal our Dormouse to banish our White Rabbit, and the White Rabbit is going to go ahead and set MTP 07. We're going to link into Dark here. One advantage that March Hare does actually give us is that because March Hare herself is a name, unlike a Bystial, we actually don't have to use our Lingaribo in this scenario. And this Dark can be any Link 2 technically. You can make SP, you can make Haggard, it doesn't really matter as long as you don't make Masquerena. I like to hold Masquerena for later parts of the combo in case you get Nibiru, because Masquerena just needs any 2 non-link monsters, so she's very flexible to use with Nibiru token. And so any Link 2 here works fine. You then use March Hare to banish your White Rabbit in order to make your Link 3 on summon 5. And then we're going to search the underground, use the underground to banish Maliss in the Mirror, to banish our Dormouse, to search March Hare. So this is what I was talking about when I say it's like a bit awkward, because normally when you use a Bystial for this combo, this March Hare in your hand would be kind of like an extender that you can use to play through Nibiru. However, since we already used March Hare's effect in the end, this March Hare in the hand doesn't really do anything. She's basically just here for Chessie Cat to banish and draw 2. So if your opponent were to Nibiru here, it would still be fine, because you have the MTP 07 to chain to the Nibiru to banish the Red Ransom, and then Red Ransom on a new chain can summon herself and banish a copy of Chessie Cat from the deck. So you can still combo, it's just without March Hare as an extender, it makes it so that your recovery after getting Nibiru is a bit weaker. But here we're going to make Splash Mage and use Splash Mage to summon our Dormouse, and then link into White Binder. White Binder is going to banish Red Ransom, and then Red Ransom is going to banish Chessie. And we're going to use White Binder to set GWC before we use Chessie to draw 2. We can still use March Hare to add herself back because we haven't used her banish effect yet. And then we're going to link 2 into our Cyberse Wicked. So here, since we made Dark at the beginning instead of using Lingaribo, we still have our Lingaribo here to link 1 and trigger the Cyberse Wicked, which can banish our White Binder in order to add backup Administer from our deck to our hand. Then we're going to use our White Binder to draw our 3rd card and link into Firewall, then use backup effect to summon and search for a wizard, discarding a random card, and then wizard effect to summon any name, and link into Cryptor, then use Firewall effect to summon this spare March Hare from our hand. And then link 3 into our Akko Talker, and Akko Talker summon Red Ransom to get the full board onto the field. So still possible to do, just a bit more awkward. And in some parts of the combo, if your opponent intelligently holds their Nibiru, you could be in quite a bad situation. So it isn't entirely nib proof, but you can still get there if you just sequence your plays correctly. So what about White Rabbit plus March Hare as a 2-card combo? Well, you can still get to the full combo. It is more susceptible to hand traps. Here we're going to make our Ransom on 5, and then we're going to use TB11 to banish our Ransom and summon Dormouse from the deck. We're going to go into Splash Mage, summon our Dormouse, then go into White Binder to banish 3 to add back the Hare, and summon the Dormouse back from the banished. Then we're going to use White Binder to go ahead and set GWC06. Dormouse is going to banish our Chessy Cat here, and then Chessy Cat is going to banish our March Hare to draw 2. Then going to link into Wicked and then use our field spell to banish Maliss in the mirror, to banish our White Binder and add another copy of March Hare, and then a White Binder is going to summon and draw our 3rd card. We're going to then use Wicked to search for backup, link for Firewall, summon backup, and then backup search for Wizard, summon Wizard, and link for Cryptor, just as before. Firewall is going to summon the spare March Hare from our hand, and then we're going to link into Acode to summon Red Ransom. So we do have the full board here, with MTP still in the deck, so this combo did need to go through TB11 in order to make the full board, but it is still possible with White Rabbit plus Hare. Alright, so Chessy Cat plus March Hare is pretty much the same deal as all the Chessy combos before. Unfortunately, it cannot play through Nibiru, but you can still get to full combo assuming your opponent does not have Nibiru. We're just going to go Underground, banish Dormouse, and then Dormouse, banish White Rabbit. White Rabbit will set our GWC06, and we're going to Splash Mage as usual to summon a name, link into Binder. Binder will banish a few names, and then add March Hare back to our hand. And we're going to use White Binder to set TB11, and then use TB11 to go ahead and banish White Binder in order to summon and draw a card. We're going to then link into Wicked, and the reason we do it in this order is because this combo required us to use Lingaribo at the start, and so we had to use TB11 to banish the White Binder so that we can get another body on board to trigger this Wicked, because if we didn't and we linked our White Binder and our Red Ransom straight into Wicked, we will not be able to convert the remaining name into a Lingaribo to trigger the Wicked. So we have to do it in this order so that we can actually summon something under the Wicked zone, and then use Wicked to search for our backup Adagnister. Backup will then search for Wizard to change the 1 card we drew, and the Wizard will summon another name to make Cryptor, and then Firewall will summon our spare March Hare, and then we're going to make the Echo Talker to summon Red Ransom and still end on the full board. We don't end up drawing any cards, unfortunately, but this is still full combo, as we can set the MTP from the deck and we have Cryptor loaded in the grave. Alright, here is the combo for Underground plus Hare. So Underground plus Hare is a bit awkward. Here I will set the TB11 off White Rabbit. I'm just going to normal summon the Hare to go ahead and go straight into our Link 3 Ransom. I'm going to then use TB11 to banish Ransom, to then banish a March Hare from the deck to add it to my hand, and then we can link into Splash Mage to summon back the Chessy and link into White Binder. Thankfully in this combo, since we didn't have to use March Hare as a Bystial necessarily, we just used March Hare as a normal summon, we still have March Hare's effect in the hand, so that does give us some protection from something like a Nibiru. Here we're going to banish the Chessy and then use White Binder to go ahead and set GWC06. Then I'm going to go ahead and use the March Hare, since we do have GWC06 and a White Binder in rotation, which guarantees us some level of interruption and follow up on our opponent's turn. And then we're going to link into Wicked, use our Chessy to banish our Mirror, and the Mirror will banish our White Binder in the graveyard to add just any name. Binder will summon and draw a card, and Wicked will go ahead and add our backup Adagnister. We're going to make Firewall, summon backup, backup search Wizard, Wizard summon, and make our Cryptor. And then the Firewall is going to summon the last name from our hand. We're going to make Acode, and the Acode will summon Red Ransom to his zone. So again, full combo with MTP in the deck. So definitely still possible with Underground plus Hare. As long as you play it correctly, you can even play around Nibiru as well with this 2-card combo. Alright, so the last and final combo we're going to be showing in this video is going to be the 2-card combo with backup Adagnister and March Hare in our hand. So when I have a hand like this, I do prefer to use the March Hare as a Bystial, and you'll see as this combo goes that this is basically the same combo as the backup plus Bystial combo, except the Bystial is replaced by the March Hare. Of course, since we are using March Hare in place of the Bystial, it means we don't have March Hare to use as an extender later on. Even though this combo does still play around Nibiru, since we get to our Link 3 on Summon 5, and then we retain Underground in our hand as an extender in case we get Nibiru'd. We are short 1 body at the end here. So here we're going to mirror banish White Binder to draw our third card. And you can see here, since we already used March Hare's effect, we are short one body to link for Cryptor, and then Firewall summon a name out of our hand. And so because of that, we aren't able to end on the full combo of Cryptor in the graveyard, Echoed pointing to Firewall, and Echoed summoning back the Red Ransom. And so because of that, I'm just going to go ahead and use the Firewall effect here to add 2 names back to my hand, including the backup Agnister. And since we normal summon the backup Agnister at the start of the combo, we actually still have her effect to special summon herself from the hand. So we'll use that effect to summon her, then link into our Cryptor, use Firewall effect to summon this spare name from our hand, and then I'm going to go ahead and use Cryptor to recycle early and use TV11 to banish the Cryptor just to get another body from the deck. And this is just so that I can link the 2 bodies away into an IP Masquerena. And this is a very weird board because the Firewall is kind of just chilling here without any effect, since we already used both of his effects. So he's just going to be basically link material for this IP Masquerena. But the reason we did that was because IP Masquerena needs non-link monsters, so we couldn't just link the Firewall and the Jessie Cat into an IP Masquerena. You could have linked into, let's say, Cyber's Wicked, and then used Wicked with the Firewall to make something like a Decode Talker Heat Soul. But unfortunately, we couldn't make Echo Talker there, since Firewall is a link 4 and we had two Jessie Cats there. And Firewall can only count as a link 4 or as a link 1 material, and so no matter which way you do the math, we aren't able to summon a link 5 off of that. So here I just opt to make the Masquerena instead, since that's the next best thing that we can make, so that the IP Masquerena can translate into something like an SP Little Knight on our opponent's turn. But you still have your Cryptor, you still have your GWC, and you still have MTP ready in the deck to set once you banish your White Rabbit, and you still have a March Hare ready in your hand along with 3 draws as well. So not too bad, I'd say. So that's going to be it for this video, guys. As usual, if you found the video enjoyable or helpful, let us know by liking the video and leaving a comment, or by joining our Discord. If you want to follow our future videos, make sure to subscribe to the channel. More content will be coming out in the future. Thanks for watching. See you all next time.